Final Fantasy XIV's raiding scene, I truly believe, is going to have a significant shakeup from the system. We are going to be seeing new players incentivized to tackle content that they may never have even approached before. And I'm not just throwing this out there to the wind. This is actually something that makes a whole lot of sense, and we're going to be going into why Chaotic Alliance raids is probably one of the most impactful forms of content that we are going to be getting this expansion. First up is we may as well get the elephant out of the room first. Are the rewards worth going after? Because look at Savage Criterion, the first 2 dungeons. Then people didn't even look at the third because they just assumed they were bad, but they were actually kind of cool. Are the rewards good? And the rewards are very, very good. You have a mix of hairstyles, mounts, and whatever. That is very, very important stuff. However, more important than that is we are getting a brand new way to get item level 730 gear. Yes, that is the current best in slot number, and presuming going forward that that is going to be a trend. So you now have added a brand new path, which used to be raid gear or tomestones, a third brand new path to get best in slot gear, which probably has better secondary substats. And speaking as a healer, we have pieces right now that kind of suck in terms of substats, and this is absolutely appealing. Further than that, there is no weekly loot lockout for this content, and that means that this is going to be a fantastic way to gear out your alt jobs. Let's say you played healer this tier and you're like, hey, I want to play Pictomancer or Viper. Hey, maybe you're just not seeing enough tanks in the content. Then you can gear up your tank and then you can tackle it. So right out the gate, I need to say the rewards are worth it. And frankly, if they weren't worth it, then we wouldn't be having this discussion right now. How you get these rewards is that you accumulate tokens by doing the Chaotic Alliance raids, and then you trade in those tokens for gear. Pretty simple, right? We've seen a lot of different token systems, and yeah, we have. Now, a lot of people will be like, you know what? There's always been best in slot gear for raiding. That's never incentivized new players to join. You'd be right. This token system, however, is different than the rest in that it has 2 perks. The first one is just going to be skimmed over. There's a limited time bonus. Basically, this is when party finder groups for this content are going to fill. That's about it. But the more important one that is truly going to shape the raid scene going forward is first time duty bonus. Additional tokens will be awarded in proportion to the number of Alliance members new to the duty. And again, remember that we just talked about the rewards being good. This system would fall flat on its face if these rewards weren't good. The rewards are there. What that means is that the people who are in the higher tiers of raiding are highly incentivized to grab any new soul, any poor new player running around Salem's limits, probably not literally, and grab them into the content and say, you, my little token printer, are coming with me. Is it self-serving? Yes. You are a human being if you're listening to this. We definitely need some level of motivation. And this is motivation to have more experienced raiders take new players who probably have never even raided before in their life into this content. And I'm going to expand it more later in the video, but this content they have stated is equivalent to about a second floor of Savage. So that is a touch, definitely a touch above an extreme trial. And honestly, a lot of new players don't even touch extreme trials. And so this is a very direct pipeline. Hey, you're totally new to raiding. Now we're going to take you into this content that's equivalent to second floor of Savage, and maybe next tier, or maybe right now, you're going to try Savage after that because you will have the experience and skills. But hey, I'm getting ahead of myself here. We know, I'm sure everyone watching this video knows someone who absolutely could raid, absolutely could, but they won't even step foot into an extreme trial. I know hundreds of you even posted in my comments, and I'm just like, just damn well do it. It's just like, you could have gone into Zodiac for Endwalker. That was probably the easiest extreme trial we've ever had. Sorry, Zodiac, that was kind of it was a little disappointing, but it's the truth. But these players still wouldn't do it because they were like, hey, what if I'm a burden to the team? I don't know what I'm doing. I've never done this before. What if my rotation isn't right? My gear isn't that good. I don't have best in slot to farm even this extreme trial. And before you say that that's contrived, I have literally heard people say, well, you know what, people have like way better gear than me, and all I would maybe have is crafted if you gave it to me, and I just run my little dungeons every week and I have a few tombstone pieces. Bro, like, there is a lot of insecurity here. And we brought up kind of 2 separate issues during the media tour that are addressed directly from here. The first one was best in slot and secondary substats and stuff like that. Okay, we get it. New way to get 730 gear. Okay, moving on. But the much more interesting question, and I don't want to say who asked the question because I'm 90% sure who it is, but I also don't have like any recordings to like double check. But basically this person asked, hey, we don't necessarily have a direct like way to help players improve, and which we do have and see with 7.1 that the Hall of the Novice, the training ground, is getting expanded upon, as well as we are getting a mechanics encyclopedia installed into the user interface, which I think is absolutely fantastic steps into that direction. It is a good starting point. However, basically they were talking about things like, well, you know, parsing tools, like how can you check your damage numbers? How do you know your funny numbers? How do you know if you're actually doing good? And then the answer is always Earth, Sky, Stone, Sea stuff, and which that is an adequate tool, kind of, sort of, but it also is very lacking, and anyone who has seen like parses on FFlogs and stuff like that knows that it is not as in-your-face representation. So we have a problem where players aren't necessarily going to be able to be more like, they're not going to be able to really get a good reinforcement about, hey, this is a good thing that you did. Hey, that's a bad thing you did. And you don't need a damn psychology degree or any degree to know that with exposure to something, with experience with something, you suddenly gain a little bit of skill in it. Sure, we all have imposter syndrome, or a lot of us do. Hell, I have it in my day job, and I've been doing software for a bajillion years, and I have 2 fucking degrees in it. But I still have imposter syndrome like crazy. But basically, when you get exposed to something, when you see, hey, I can do this, you start learning, you start processing that, and then with that, you start getting comfortable, and then as you start getting comfortable, you might want to do that more. You're like, hey, you know, I could do this, I can queue up for this, you know, maybe I will throw myself into Party Finder in Epic of Alexander, you know what, I'm gonna clear it. I literally did that last year. I didn't even know if I could do it. I was just like doing it in Party Finder. Oh my god, I don't know if I could even do that. And then I threw myself on Tank, a completely new role, and I damn well did the thing, and I'm still thrilled about it. And then people are like, well, what about top? Whatever. Everyone needs to go at their own pace, and I think that this is a fantastic way to get people more exposed to various mechanics, and with that exposure comes that comfort. And with that comfort, we're gonna see more people getting into raiding. And now I'm gonna completely say something that, you know what, should make you happy, and to the weirdos that this doesn't make happy, I'm so sorry, get back to planet fucking Earth. But how many people here don't play League of Legends? Probably a bunch of you. I did play it. How many people know what LCS is, who Scara is, who Faker is, who knows what Zed is, and like what Zed's ultimate did? Like we're going back even to season 5. We're going back to the Elden days with some of that. But or what about like LeBlanc with what was it, Deathfire Grasp? Like how many people know about that? Well, if you didn't play League of Legends, you probably don't give a shit. You probably don't care if they're diamond rank. You are just disconnected. You don't care. See, when someone isn't involved in something, they generally don't care. It's very hard to make someone that doesn't have a like concept even of something care. Like how many of you have gone to your parents and talked about something really cool in gaming or online or something, and then it was like, oh yeah, that's cool, sweetie. Anyhow, I'm getting back to my Netflix show, bye. I'm pretty sure all of us have had that experience. So with more raiders, number one, we're gonna get more people that give a shit. That means more people that give a shit to tune into World First and Prog raiding and just raiding in general. They will care about. And getting new blood to care is really, really great, whether they actively participate or not. Obviously, active participation is going to go up because if you're more comfortable, you're actually going into the content, you are going to now be a raider. You are now going to be in that community. You are going to be maybe contributing to guides. Maybe you're going to be doing like a whole bunch of things. And that is really healthy. The worst state for a community or a sub-community of any size or any nature to be, not any size, but the worst thing is for it to be dead, for it to not have new blood, because people come, people go, people quit the game, and the worst thing is when you see your community diminish, because that means less people to party up with, less people to talk about it with, less people getting enthusiastic about it. That is truly when a game or a subculture in a game dies. It doesn't go out with a bang. It goes out with a horrible, pathetic whimper. And this is a fucking brilliant system. The Chaotic Alliance raids and their new token system, I actually think is one of the best things to happen to this game.